continue with quadratic form and discriminant, we're going to be working where we won't be having perfect square numbers inside a square root. So I repeat, we're going to be working with some examples that will not have a perfect square number inside a square root. So it ties into the previous section where we were simplifying square roots. So you'll want to make sure to have your notes over the perfect square root numbers. So I'm going to review with you. So remember, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, 5 square is 25, and then so on. So 36, 49, 64, 81, and 100. So mainly we're going to be working with those numbers. The 4, the 9, the 16, the 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, and 100. So those are from the previous section. So that should be in your notes. Or that should have been in your notes already. So with this example, 3x squared plus 4x minus 7 equals x. We are going to do the same process as before. I'm going to have everything on the left side, make my quadratic equation equal to 0. So I'm going to minus x here, minus x here. So it's going to be 3x squared. So 4x minus x will be plus 3x minus 7 equal to 0. So from there, my a will be 3, my b will also be 3, and my c will be negative 7. So that means I gotta be very careful with that one. Alright, so once you identify your ABC, next is just simply plug into the quadratic formula. So it's going to be x equal negative, so my b is 3, plus and minus, so inside the square root, it will be 3 squared minus 4, so I'm running out of room, so I'm actually going to write it down here. So negative 3, that's my b, plus and minus 3 squared minus 4 times my a, which is also 3, times my c, which is also negative 7. The whole thing here is inside the square root, divided by 2 times a, which is 3. Alright, from there, so I'm going to simplify my quadratic formula, my work inside the quadratic formula. So this will be negative 3 plus and minus. So 3 squared, meaning 3 times 3, is 9. So negative 4 times 3, so that's actually going to be negative 12 times negative 7. Still working with the square root, over 2 times 3, which is 6. Alright, now I'm going to simplify this. So I'm going to continue writing over here. So this is going to be negative 3 plus and minus my 9. Now, I'm going to do negative 12 times negative 7. That's actually going to be positive 84. So my negative 12 times negative 7 will be positive 84 divided by 6. So that means that I'm going to write over here x equals negative 3 plus and minus 9 plus 84 is 93. The whole thing divided by 6. Now, checking with the numbers I underline in red, 4, 9, 16, and so on, none of these numbers can go into 93. So, since none of these numbers can go into 93, there's nothing you can do to simplify the square root. So, if there's nothing you can do to simplify, that means that it's going to stay as square root of 93. So, my answer will be x equals -3. I'm going to split it into two fractions, plus the square root of 93 over 6. And then my second fraction, x equals -3 minus the square root of 93 over 6. So there's my two fraction, therefore my two answers. So -3 plus the square root of 93 over 6, and -3 minus the square root of 93 over 6. Those are your two answers. Again, this is the one where we could not simplify the square root. In this next example, we have x squared minus 6x minus 3 equal -6 minus x squared. So we're going to get everything on one side, meaning making the equation equal to 0. Majority is on the left side, so I'm going to cancel out the -6 and cancel out the minus x squared. So the opposite of -6 is plus 6. So plus 6. And then the opposite of negative x squared or minus x squared would be plus x squared plus x squared. So when I combine like terms, x squared plus x squared, that's going to be 2x squared minus 6x. -3 plus 6 will be plus 3 equal to 0. So from there, once you got the quadratic equation equal to 0, identify A, B, C. So A, B, C. So my A value is actually 2. My B value is actually -6. And my C value is positive 3. Alright? So from there, I'm just going to plug into the quadratic formula. So it's going to be x equal negative from the formula and parenthesis -6 plus and minus -6 with the parenthesis square minus 4 times my a, which is 2, times my 3, which is the c. This is inside the square root divided by my 2a, or 2 times 2. Just like that. Alright, so I'm going to simplify. -6 will actually be positive 6 plus and minus -6 squared, meaning -6 times -6, that's going to be 36. -4 or minus 4 times 2, that's going to be -8 times 3 divided by 2 times 2, which is 4. So from there, I'm going to continue simplifying. So it's going to be x equal positive 6 plus and minus 36. -8 times 3 would be -24 over 4. So from there, it's going to be x equal positive 6 plus and minus 36 minus 24 would be 12 over 4. Now when you simplify the square root of 12, because your perfect square number 4 can go into 12, so when you simplify it, it will actually be x equal 6 plus and minus 2 square root of 3 over 4. Now, if you had a question on how we got square root of 12 become 2 square root of 3, I would remind you to go back to your notes from 4.6 A and B. We did practice on how to simplify square roots. Now, we're not finished because we actually have to continue simplifying. The reason we're not finished is and pay very close attention to this. I'm underlining my 6, I'm underlining my 2, and underlining my 4. I am not messing with that square root of 3. So the reason I underline these 3 numbers is that because the 6, the 2, and the 4 are all 3 even numbers. So just like fractions, you can actually simplify them. Since they're all even numbers, I can divide all of them by 2. So I'm going to write up here, x equal 6 divided by 2 is 3. The 2 square root of 3 divided by 2 is just 1 square root of 3 over 4 divided by 2 is just 2. So my 2 answer will be x equal 3 plus, now if it's a 1 you don't have to write it there, but it's okay if you do. But you just write square root of 3 over 2, and then my other one will be x equals 3 minus square root of 3 over 2. So those two are our final answer. And again, if you had a question on how to square root of 12 into 2 square root of 3, simplifying it, I would again refer to the video notes from 4.6a and 4.6b, simplifying square roots. In this example, we have 8x squared plus 8x plus 4 equals to 5 plus 6x squared. So, I want to cancel out the 5. Since majority of the terms are on the left side, I want to get the right side become 0. So the opposite of 5 is minus 5, minus 5. And then I want to cancel out the plus 6x squared. So minus 6x squared minus 6x squared. So 8x squared minus 6x squared, does be 2x squared. Carry down my 8x. Positive 4 minus 5 will be minus 1 or negative 1 equal to 0. So once the quadratic equation equal to 0, A, B, C. So my A is 2, my B is 8, and my C is negative 1. So from there, plug in the quadratic formula. So negative 8, because my B is 8, plus and minus 8 squared minus 4 times my A, which is 2, times my C, which is negative 1. This whole thing is inside the square root. Divided by, the whole thing divided by 2 times A, which is 2 times 2. Alright, so I'm actually going to simplify my quadratic formula work. So it's going to be x equal negative 8, that's just simply negative 8, plus and minus 8 squared, that would be 64, negative 4 times 2, which will be negative 8, and then negative 1, two times 2, which is 4. Alright, from there, x equal, it's still going to be negative 8, plus and minus 64, negative 8 times negative 1, that's actually going to be plus 8, over 4. So from there, when you simplify 64 plus 8, so you're going to actually have x equal negative 8 plus and minus 64 plus 8 will be 72 over 4. So you can actually simplify the square root of 72. 36 can go into 72 2 times. So when you simplify, the square root of 72 is actually going to be x equals negative 8 plus and minus 6 square root of 2 over 4. So again, if you had a question about how to simplify that square root, refer back to 4.6a and 4.6b video. Now pay close attention to what I'm doing next. I'm underlining my negative 8, my 6, and my 4. I am not messing with that square root of 2. So, all those numbers are even, so that means they're divisible by 2. Since they are divisible by 2, so negative 8, I'm going to write it over here. Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. Plus and minus 6 divided by 2 is 3. And I still have the square root of 2. Again, I did not mess with it. Over 4 divided by 2 is just 2. So, my 2 answer will be x equals negative 4 plus 3 square root of 2 over 2. And then x equals negative 4 minus 3 square root of 2 over 2. So those two answers are our final answer. Negative 4 plus 3 square root of 2 over 2, and then negative 4 minus 3 square root of 2 over 2. So those are our two answers. Again, if you're confused on how we simplify square root of 72 into 6 square root of 2, I would again refer back to your notes from 4.6a and 4.6b video.